The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract money like a magnet, while others, working even harder, live paycheck to paycheck? What if I told you that the difference between wealth and scarcity is not in your bank account, but in the mental files that were installed in you as a child? And if you were to discover that every financial decision you make today is being driven by programming that you didn't even know existed? In this audiobook, you're going to discover something revolutionary, that you have a pattern of money etched into your subconscious, a financial thermostat that determines exactly how much you can earn and keep, no matter how hard you try or how much you know about business. But here comes the extraordinary. That pattern can be reprogrammed. You're going to learn the 17 mental files that separate the rich from the poor, not in terms of morality or intelligence, but in ways of thinking and acting that create radically different outcomes. I'm going to teach you how to identify toxic beliefs about the money you inherited from your family, as the rich think in terms of both, while the poor think either this or the other. Because managing a dollar well is more important than earning thousands, and how to make your money work for you while you sleep. You'll finally understand why the universe isn't sending you more money, and more importantly, what exactly to do to change that. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Write this phrase in the comments: "My inner world creates my outer world." Do it right now, because this simple act is your first statement that you're ready to transform your relationship with money from the ground up. Remember, you are not your current circumstances. You're so much bigger than any financial problem. And if they can do it, so can you. You're about to discover that wealth isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of programming. And that programming is about to change. Take a deep breath, and let's get started. Chapter 1: The Invisible Pattern That Controls Your Financial Destiny. Imagine for a moment that you are a tree, a majestic tree with branches that extend into the sky and fruits that hang from them. Now look at those fruits in your life. Those fruits are your financial results, your salary, your savings, your debts, your ability to generate money. If you don't like the fruits you're seeing, if they're small, scarce, or bitter, what would you normally do? Most people focus obsessively on the fruits, trying to polish them, to make them grow by force, to paint them in another color. But there's a fundamental problem with this approach. Fruits are not created in the branches, they are created in the roots. The roots of your financial tree are buried deep in your subconscious, invisible but powerful, determining exactly what kind of fruit you will produce year after year. These roots are your money pattern and were planted when you were so young that you don't even remember the moment. Every time you heard your parents argue over money, every time you heard phrases like "money doesn't grow on trees" or "the rich are bad," every time you saw your family struggle to make ends meet, a program was being written in your mind, a code that now directs every financial decision you make. Let me tell you about Emma, a surgical nurse with a bumper salary who mysteriously always ended up penniless at the end of the month. No matter how much he earned, the money seemed to evaporate from his hands like water. For years, he blamed circumstances, the cost of living, unexpected emergencies, bad luck, until one day, in an exercise of deep introspection, he remembered something he had completely forgotten. He was 11 years old. He was in a Chinese restaurant with his parents and sister. His parents began another of their bitter arguments about money. His father, red with anger, banged his fist on the table. Then his face changed from red to blue. He fell to the ground. It was a heart attack. Emma, who had learned CPR on her swim team, knelt beside him, pressed her small chest against her father's, blew into his lungs, but it was useless. His father died in his arms. Since that day, without consciously knowing it, Emma's brain had created a simple but devastating equation. Money equals pain. Money equals death. That's why he couldn't keep it. That is why he unconsciously got rid of every penny that came into his hands. It wasn't bad management. It wasn't a lack of discipline. It was emotional survival.
His mind was protecting her from the pain associated with money. This is the power of the money boss. It operates from the shadows, making decisions for you without you even knowing it. It's like having an internal financial thermostat. If your thermostat is set to $30,000 a year, no matter how hard you try, how many overtime hours you work, how many courses you take, in some mysterious way, you'll always end up around that $30,000. You could earn $50,000 a year for a stroke of luck, but somehow the following year you'll have unexpected expenses, bad investments, or just missed opportunities that will get you back in your scheduled zone. Studies on lottery winners confirm this dramatically. Research consistently shows that no matter how small the prize, most lottery winners return to their original financial situation in less than 5 years. People who won millions end up bankrupt. Why? Because you can give millions to someone with a poor man's mentality, but if their internal thermostat is set to scarcity, they'll find a way to get back to their comfortable financial temperature. On the other hand, look at the self-made millionaires. When they lose their fortune, and many lose it at least once, they regain it with astonishing speed. Donald Trump lost billions, was technically bankrupt, and in a few years he had not only recovered his fortune, but had multiplied it. Magic? No. Simply your internal thermostat is calibrated for billions, not thousands. Your money pattern was formed primarily through 3 powerful influences during your childhood. The first is verbal programming, everything you heard about money when you were little. The second is the role models, how they handled money, the authority figures in your life. And the third is the specific incidents, the emotional experiences related to money that you lived in your youth. Think about this for a moment. What did you hear at home about money? Was it a source of joy or conflict? Did your parents say that money was hard to come by or that it flowed abundantly? Did you were taught that the rich were good or bad? Each of these imprints was recorded on your mental hard drive, and now, decades later, that old software is still running, determining your current financial decisions. One of my students, Stephen, was consistently making $800,000 a year. You should think he was rich, but he wasn't. Somehow he managed to spend, lose, or give away every penny. His net worth after years of earning almost $1 million annually was exactly 0. During a deep exploration session, he recalled that his mother used to say, "The rich are greedy and mean. Their money comes from the sweat of the poor. You should only have enough to survive. If you have more, you're a pig." That was the problem. Stephen loved his mother and subconsciously couldn't afford to be rich because that would mean being a pig. It would mean losing the love and approval of the most important person in his life as a child. So he inadvertently sabotaged his wealth. He made money with his right hand and destroyed it with his left, keeping his net worth at 0 to remain good in the eyes of his internalized mother. The human mind is fascinating in its need for internal coherence. It will always seek to validate your programming, even if that programming is destroying you. If deep down you don't think you deserve to be rich, your mind will find creative ways to prove it. Bad investments, impulsive spending, missed opportunities, subtle but effective self-sabotage. But here comes the hopeful part, the reason why you're hearing this right now. Your money pattern is not set in stone. It's not your DNA. It's simply a program. And like any program, it can be rewritten. But first, you need to see it. You need to bring it out of the shadows of the subconscious into the light of consciousness. Chapter 2. The 3 hidden forces that programmed your mind. When you were 5 years old, your brain was a sponge. You didn't have critical filters. You didn't have the ability to question whether what they were telling you was true or false, useful or destructive. Everything went straight in, without processing, without analysis, directly to the hard drive. And the people you loved the most, the people you trusted the most, your parents, were the main programmers of your software. Let me share my own story. My father was a builder, and our family finances were an extreme emotional roller coaster. He built projects of dozens of houses, which required huge initial investments. During the construction period, which could last a year or 2, we were completely broke, up to our necks in debt, living on the bare minimum. My father during those periods was a different person, irritable, stingy, stressed. If I asked for a dime, his automatic response was, "What do you think I'm made of?" Money, followed by, "You're crazy." And it wasn't a joke. There really wasn't any extra money. Then, when the houses were finally sold, it was like the sun came out after 2 years of a storm. Suddenly, we had money, a lot of money. My father was transformed into a generous, cheerful, relaxed person. He asked if I needed anything. He gave me money without me asking. It was the same man, but two completely different people, depending on the status of our bank account. What do you think my brain learned as a child? That money was a cycle of scarcity and abundance, of stress and relief, of misery and joy. And guess what pattern I repeated exactly when I became an adult? For more than 10 years, my financial life was identical. Periods of wealth, followed by periods of total poverty, over and over again, like a broken record. I would start businesses, make a lot of money, and then
mysteriously lose everything and start again. It wasn't until I was 30 that I realized I was repeating my father's pattern exactly. It wasn't the kind of business, it wasn't my partners, it wasn't the economy, it was me, unconsciously recreating the only financial pattern my brain knew: roller coaster. Verbal programming is particularly insidious because it operates through seemingly innocent phrases that we hear thousands of times. Money did not grow on trees. You have to work hard for the money. The rich are different from us. We are not that kind of people. Money is the root of all evil. Each of these phrases is a mental virus, a program that installs itself on your operating system and directs your decisions decades later. Then there are reference models, which are even more powerful, because we absorb them without words, just by observing. Children are imitation machines. If your father obsessively kept every penny, there's a high chance you'll do the same. Or the exact opposite, compulsively spend as rebellion. If your mom secretly spent and hid your dad's purchases, you probably have patterns of guilt and secrecy around money. My wife is a perfect example of this. When she was a child and listened to the ice cream truck, she would run to her mother for money. His mother always said, "I don't have any money. Ask Dad. Dad has all the money." Recorded message: women don't have money, men do. When we got married, she unconsciously expected me to be the infinite source of money, and she systematically got rid of any money that came into her hands. If I gave him 100, she spent 100. If I gave him 1,000, she spent 1,000. It was an amazing mathematical precision. She always spent exactly what she received. Never a penny less, never a penny more. But the most powerful conditioning comes from specific incidents, those emotionally charged moments where money was involved. The human brain is designed to remember and avoid pain. If you've experienced a traumatic event related to money, your brain will create an entire defense system around it, even though that system is costing you millions. I met a woman named Natalie, whose parents were extremely stingy. Everything was coupons, offers, generic products. They never stayed in hotels during the holidays. They always camped. His father drove a completely rusted 15-year-old car. Natalie was embarrassed to death when she was picked up from school. Everything in his house revolved around saving every penny possible. For a girl, this was emotional torture. She felt different, ashamed, less than her peers. What did Natalie do when she grew up? Exactly the opposite. She became a compulsive spendthrift. Everything had to be branded, expensive, luxurious. It was her way of telling the world and herself, "I'm not stingy. I'm not like my parents." The problem is that he ended up with huge debts on the verge of bankruptcy. Her rebellion against her parents' pattern had taken her to the opposite extreme, equally destructive. This is a pattern I see constantly. Children of extremely thrifty parents become compulsive spenders. The children of parents who lost everything become obsessive hoarders. Children of parents who fought over money avoid the subject entirely, often staying in poverty so they don't have to deal with the conflicts that money could bring. Chapter 3. The Victim Mentality, the Silent Killer of Wealth.
There's a fundamental difference between the rich and the poor that goes beyond the money in their bank accounts. The rich believe that they create their life. The poor believe that life happens to them. This single distinction is so powerful that it determines virtually everything else. When something goes wrong in a rich person's life, their first question is, how do they create this? Or, what can I learn from this? When something goes wrong in a poor person's life, their first reaction is to look for someone to blame. And believe me, they always find someone, or something. The victim mentality has 3 unmistakable symptoms, 3 behaviors that guarantee that those who practice them will remain in poverty. They are so predictable that I can identify a future poor person in less than 5 minutes of conversation. The first symptom is guilt. Professional victims have perfected the art of finger-pointing. It's the fault of the economy, the government, their ex-partner, their parents, the market, their bad luck, their zodiac sign, anything but themselves. They're true artists finding external reasons for their situation. And here's the problem. As long as you keep pointing one finger outward, 3 fingers are pointing towards you. As long as you blame others, you give them your power. You're literally saying, my life is in the hands of these people or circumstances. I have no control. During one of my seminars, a man stood up and said, "But Harp, don't you understand my situation? My ex-wife broke me. My partner betrayed me. The economy destroyed my business." I replied, "You're right. I don't understand your specific situation, but I do understand this. As long as you keep focusing on everything that was done to you, you'll stay exactly where you are. The question is not what they did to you. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" The second symptom is justification. If victims aren't blaming, they're explaining why their situation isn't their fault. And their favorite justification, the one that kills more dreams than any other, is money isn't that important. Let me be brutally honest with you. Anyone who says money isn't important is broke. It's a universal law. It's like saying your arm isn't important. Sure, you can survive without it, but why would you? Money is important in the areas where it works, and it is not important in the areas where it doesn't work. Can money buy love? No, but try to pay your mortgage with love. Try to buy food with love. Try to pay for your children's education with love. It doesn't work. Money is a tool, and saying it's not important is like a carpenter saying the hammer isn't important. It's an elaborate excuse to justify financial failure. The third symptom, the most toxic of all, is complaint. Complaining is literally the worst poison you can introduce into your financial life. When you complain, you become a living magnet for misfortune. It's a universal law. What you focus on expands. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll get more of what's wrong. I have observed this phenomenon thousands of times. People who constantly complain live lives of constant misery. Everything that can go wrong in their lives goes wrong. And then they say, "Of course I'm complaining. Look at my horrible life." They don't understand that their life is horrible because they complain, not the other way around. I'm going to give you a challenge that has transformed the lives of thousands of people. For the next 7 days, don't complain about absolutely anything, either out loud or mentally. Anything. 0 complaints. When you feel the urge to complain, bite your tongue. Change the subject. Focus on something else. Do what it takes, but don't complain. Why 7 days? Because negativity has momentum. If you've been complaining for years, there's an inertia, a residual energy that needs time to dissipate. It's like a freight train. It doesn't stop instantly. It needs distance to break. People who have done this challenge report miraculous changes. Suddenly, things start to go well. Opportunities appear. Relationships improve. Money flows. It's not magic. It's energetic physics. When you stop attracting negativity, you make room for the positive to come. But here's the deeper truth about the victim mentality. It's a strategy. Yes, you heard that right. Being a victim has benefits. That's why people cling to that role. What is the main benefit? Attention. Victims get attention, sympathy, validation. They can tell their story of pain over and over again, and there will always be someone willing to listen and sympathize. The problem is that they've confused attention with love, and in their desperate search for attention, they sacrifice their power, their wealth, their happiness, their whole life. It's too high a price tag for a little sympathy. There's another hidden reward of being a victim. You don't have to take responsibility. If it's all someone else's fault, then you don't have to change. You don't have to grow. You don't have to face your fears. You can stay in your comfort zone, wrapped in your story of pain as life passes you by. But let me reveal a secret that only the rich know. There is no rich victim. It's impossible. The universe doesn't allow it. You cannot be a victim and prosperous at the same time. You have to choose, and every day, with every thought, with every word, with every action, you are choosing.
Chapter 4. Commitment versus desire. The millionaire difference. There is a huge difference between wanting to be rich and committing to being rich. It is the difference between fantasy and reality, between dream and achievement, between those who speak and those who do. And this unique difference separates the 3% who own more wealth than the remaining 97% combined. There are 3 levels of what we call wanting. The first level is, I want to be rich. He is the weakest, the most pathetic, the most useless. Millions of people want to be rich. They sit on their couches, buy lottery tickets, and wait for wealth to fall from the sky. Wanting is the strategy of the losers. It is passive. It is weak. It is a fantasy without power. The second level is the son being rich. This is better. Choosing implies decision. It implies taking one path over another. The word decide comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off any other alternative. When you really decide, you eliminate all other options. But even choosing isn't enough. The third level, the only one that matters, is that I commit myself to being rich. Commitment means dedicating oneself without reservation. It is burning the ships. It is to eliminate Plan B. It is betting everything on one card with the absolute certainty that you will win. Commitment is the level of warriors, champions, millionaires. When I ask people, would you commit to being rich? Most say yes, quickly. So I ask them the real question. Would you bet your life that in 10 years you will suddenly be a millionaire? The silence is deafening. The excuses begin to flow. The buts appear. And there is the naked truth. They are not committed. They are wishing, hoping, fantasizing, but not committed. Real commitment means that you will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. It means that if you have to work 18 hours a day for 3 years, you will. If you have to learn entirely new skills, you will. If you have to face all your fears, you will. If you have to completely change who you are as a person, you will. Rich people work 16 hours a day when necessary. Rich people sacrifice weekends when necessary. Rich people invest every penny available instead of spending it on immediate pleasures. Rich people read, study, learn constantly. Rich people face rejection again and again without giving up. Are you willing to do all that? If you hesitated, even for a second, you are not committed. And if you're not committed, your chances of getting rich are exactly 0. But here comes something beautiful about commitment. When you really commit, when you burn the ships and leave no choice but to succeed, the universe conspires to help you. It's like you are tested first, and once you demonstrate your unwavering commitment, doors open, opportunities appear, the right people come into your life. There's a passage of the explorer W.H. Murray that perfectly sums up this principle. The moment one is definitively committed, Providence also acts. All sorts of things happen to help one that would never have happened otherwise. A whole stream of events arises from the decision, bringing in one's favor all kinds of unexpected incidents, material assistance, and coincidences that no man could have dreamed would come his way. But the universe is not stupid. You can't fool him with a fake commitment.
He knows the difference between words and real conviction. He tests people, puts obstacles in their way, challenges, temporary failures, and observes. Do they give up? They were not committed then. Do they persist? They get up every time they fall. They find another way when the first one doesn't work. Then the universe says, "This person is serious. Let's help him." Chapter 5. Thinking Big, the Real Measure of Your Worth. There is a fundamental law in the economic universe that determines exactly how much money you will make. It is as precise as the law of gravity, as reliable as the sunrise. The income law says you will be paid in direct proportion to the value you give according to the market. The key word here is value. And value has 4 components: supply, demand, quality, and quantity. Most people focus on improving their quality. They go to college, they get certifications, they improve their skills, and that's fine, but there's a limit. You can be the best at what you do, but if what you do only affects 10 people, your income will be limited. The factor that really separates the rich from everyone else is quantity. How many people do you serve? If you're a personal trainer and you train one person at a time, there's a ceiling on your income. But if you create a video training program that can be used by thousands of people, there's no limit. If you're an accountant and you manage the books of 10 clients, your income is limited. But if you create an accounting software that thousands of businesses use, your income is unlimited. The rich think in terms of reaching millions. The poor think in terms of exchanging time for money with one person or company at a time. It's the difference between thinking big and thinking small. And let me tell you something crucial. The universe doesn't reward those who play small. Thinking small comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of responsibility. People play small because they feel safer. But here's the irony. Playing small is not safe. It is a guarantee of mediocrity and eventual irrelevance. When you play small, you steal your gift from the world. Yes, you have a gift, something unique that only you can offer, a combination of experiences, talents, perspectives that no one else has exactly the same. When you play small, you deprive the world of that gift. It's an act of selfishness disguised as humility. Let me read you something from Marianne Williamson that will change your perspective forever. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that scares us the most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, beautiful, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of the universe. Playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others don't feel insecure around you. Every time you choose to play small, you don't just limit yourself, you limit everyone who could have benefited from your greatness. That book you don't write deprives thousands of people of wisdom that could change their lives. That business you don't start deprives hundreds of people of jobs and thousands of a valuable product or service. That innovation you don't develop deprives the world of progress. The rich understand that money is simply a marker of value delivered. The more people you help, the more money you will receive. It's that simple. It's not greed, it's universal mathematics. Bill Gates is not rich because he is a miser. He's rich because his software helps billions of people. Oprah Winfrey is not rich because she accumulates money. She is rich because she has positively impacted millions of lives. But here's the problem. You were conditioned to play small. They told you, don't be smug, don't believe yourself so much.
Be humble, know your place. These are all mental chains designed to keep you small, manageable, non-threatening. The rich are completely ignorant of this programming. They know that false humility is just as toxic as arrogance. Chapter 6. Opportunities versus Obstacles. The Millionaire's Lens. The most visible difference between rich and poor is not in their bank accounts, it is in their eyes. They literally see the same world in opposite ways. Where the poor see obstacles, the rich see opportunities. Where the poor see risk, the rich see reward. Where the poor see problems, the rich see lucrative solutions. This is not superficial positive thinking, it is a fundamental difference in information processing. When a situation arises, a poor person's brain automatically scans for dangers, problems, reasons why it won't work. A rich person's brain scans for potential, possibilities, ways to make it work. I'll give you a perfect example. During the pandemic, millions of people saw disaster, loss, impossibility, and they were right from their perspective. But the wealthy saw the greatest transfer of wealth in history, the greatest opportunities of a generation. While the poor were paralyzed by fear, the rich were buying stocks at discounted prices, starting online businesses, innovating solutions to new problems. What's the difference? Mental programming. The rich are programmed with fire, prepared, point out. The poor are programmed with prepared, aim, 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 and never shoot. The rich know that perfection is the enemy of progress, that clarity comes from action, not from thought. I'm going to tell you about my entry into the fitness equipment business. I wanted to understand the business from the inside, so I got a job at Mother Butler's, a chain of pastry shops. Yes, a bakery has nothing to do with fitness, but while I was sweeping floors and washing dishes, I was soaking it all up. Profit margins, customer flow, inventory management, consumer psychology. A week later, the manager offered me a promotion to cashier. I rejected it and resigned. He had already learned what he needed. But here comes the interesting part. The head pastry chef also quit that day and called me. I had heard about a new product called Gravity Investment Boots and thought I might be interested. I researched them, saw potential, and began to sell them to sports stores. While making these sales, I noticed something. All of these stores had terrible fitness equipment. There was the opportunity screaming. In less than a year, I opened one of the first specialty fitness stores in North America. 2 years later, it had 10 stores, and I sold them for $600,000. See the chain of events? Of washing dishes in a bakery to Millionaire. But it was only possible because he was looking for opportunities, not obstacles. Every situation, no matter how irrelevant it seemed, was an opportunity to learn, to connect, to discover. The poor expect opportunities to be obvious, perfect, and guaranteed. They want someone to tell them exactly what to do, how to do it, and guarantee that it will work. That is why they remain poor. Real opportunities come disguised as hard work, problems, imperfect situations. Here's the secret that the rich understand. Money always flows to the problem solver. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you will receive. The poor flee from problems. The rich seek them. The poor say, I wish I didn't have this problem. The rich say, how can I solve this for millions of people and get paid for it? The opportunity versus obstacle mindset also determines your response to failure. The poor see failure as proof that they shouldn't try, as a sign to stop. The rich see failure as data, as valuable information about what doesn't work, bringing them closer to what does. Thomas Edison failed more than 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked by a reporter how he felt about so many failures, Edison replied, I haven't failed. I've found 10,000 ways that don't work. That is the mentality of the rich. Every failure is a stepping stone to success. Chapter 7. Your relationship with the rich determines your future. One of the biggest secrets about wealth that no one wants to admit is this. If you secretly hate, envy, or resent the rich, you will never be one of them. It's a universal law, as reliable as gravity. You can't become something you despise. Most poor people have a deep, often unconscious resentment of the rich. They've been programmed with beliefs such as, the rich are evil. Behind every great fortune there is a great crime. The rich exploit the poor. You can't be rich and be a good person. These beliefs are pure poison to your prosperity. Think about it logically. Your subconscious, which controls 95% of your decisions, has as number one priority to keep you as a good person according to your programming. If you think rich people are bad and you want to be good, your subconscious will sabotage every attempt to get rich. It's a psychological protection. Your mind prefers to keep you poor and good than rich and bad. I will tell you something that happened to me that perfectly illustrates this principle.
When he was broke, he drove a Ponte. Everyone let me change lanes. People were friendly in traffic. When I got rich and bought a black Jaguar, everything changed. Suddenly, no one would let me pass. They cut me off aggressively. I received obscene gestures. One day, driving through a poor neighborhood delivering turkeys for charity, some guys in a van started throwing cans of beer at me, shouting, "Rich, damn!" My car ended up with dents and scratches. The most ironic thing is that I was there to help, to give, but they couldn't see past their resentment. Their hatred of the rich blinded them, and that same hatred guaranteed that they would remain poor forever. There's an ancient Hawaiian philosophy called huna, which has a powerful principle: bless what you want. If you want a beautiful home, bless beautiful homes and their owners. If you want a luxurious car, bless luxurious cars and those who drive them. If you want wealth, bless wealth wherever you see it. Why does this work? Because the energy you emit is the energy you attract. If you emit resentment toward wealth, you repel wealth. If you emit admiration and blessing towards wealth, you attract wealth. It's physical, energetic, basic. But there's a deeper and more practical reason. The rich are your successful traveling library. Every wealthy person is a living textbook on how to create wealth. Instead of resenting them, study them. Instead of criticizing them, learn from them. Instead of avoiding them, approach them. The rich consult richer people than themselves. The poor consult their broken friends. Who do you think they get the best advice from? If your broken uncle is giving you financial advice, it's like getting diet advice from someone who is overweight. It doesn't make sense. During my seminars, people often ask me if they can touch me. They say, "I've never touched a billionaire." I always smile externally, but internally I'm screaming, "Wake up! I'm no different than you. I'm no better than you. The only difference is my mental programming, and as long as you believe that I'm fundamentally different, you will remain poor." The truth about the rich that the poor don't want to hear is this: most of the rich are extraordinarily generous people. They donate more to charity in a year than most people donate in a lifetime. They create jobs, innovate solutions, improve lives. Yes, there are corrupt rich people just as there are corrupt poor people. Corruption doesn't discriminate by bank balance. In my personal experience, living in one of the richest neighborhoods in San Diego, I found the most generous, kind, and socially conscious people I've ever met. At a barbecue in my neighborhood, I saw a literal line of people pulling out their checkbooks to donate to different charities. Each person present was leading or significantly supporting at least one charitable cause. My doctor neighbor operated for free every Tuesday, performing up to 10 surgeries without charging a penny. Another neighbor donated hundreds of thousands annually to the Children's Hospital. These are not exceptions. They are the rule among the truly wealthy. Chapter 8. Promotion, your most valuable skill. If there's one skill that separates the rich from everyone else, it's this: the rich are masters at promoting themselves and their value. The poor believe that promotion is shameful, manipulative, or below them. This single difference explains more wealth disparity than almost any other factor. Here's the brutal truth: if you're not willing to promote yourself, you will remain poor. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how hard you work, how good your product is. If people don't know you exist,
They can't buy from you. If they don't know your value, they can't pay you. If they don't listen to your message, they can't benefit from it. But Harv, people tell me, I do a good job. My work should speak for itself. Let me translate that. I'm afraid of rejection, and I want to hide behind my work hoping that people will magically discover me. Do you know how many bright and talented people die poor and unknown because millions refuse to promote themselves? There's an old saying, build a better mousetrap and the world will line up at your doorstep. That saying is incomplete. The full version should be, build a better mousetrap and aggressively promote to let the world know it exists, where your door is, because your trap is better. And then maybe some will come. Promotion aversion usually comes from children's programming. They told us, don't brag, don't be arrogant, humility is a virtue, let others speak well of you. All of this is programming designed to keep you small, manageable, non-threatening. But here's the crucial distinction. Promotion isn't about ego, it's about service. If you genuinely believe that your product, service, or message can help people, it's your moral obligation to promote it. Not promoting something that could improve lives is selfish. Imagine if you had the cure for cancer.
Would it be humbling to keep quiet about it? Would it be noble to wait for people to discover it for themselves? It would not. It would be criminal. You would literally be letting people die for your false humility. Now, you probably don't have the cure for cancer, but you have something of value. We all have it. You have knowledge, skills, experiences, perspectives that could help others. If you don't promote it, you deprive the world of that value. It is an act of selfishness disguised as humility. The rich understand that promotion is simply education multiplied by enthusiasm. They are educating the market about the value they offer, and they do so with enthusiasm because they believe in what they do. It's not manipulation if you genuinely help people. It's not shameful if you truly believe in your worth. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says it perfectly. I'm not known as the best writer. I'm known as a best-selling author. The difference is promotion. There are thousands of better writers than Kiyosaki that no one knows about because they refuse to promote themselves. Every leader must be a promoter. Do you think Martin Luther King Jr. was shy about his message? Do you think Gandhi was reluctant to promote his cause? Do you think Steve Jobs was humble about Apple products? Leaders promote because they understand that without promotion, there is no movement, no change, no impact. And here's the secret. Leaders earn exponentially more than followers. If you want wealth, you must lead. If you want to lead, you need to promote. If you can't promote, you'll remain a follower, and followers receive the residue after the leaders have eaten. Chapter 9. The size of your problems reveals your size. There's an equation I want you to engrave in your mind forever. If you have a big problem, it means you're being a small person. I know it hurts to hear it, but it's the truth you need to grow. Problems never go away. As long as you are breathing, there will be challenges, obstacles, difficulties. The difference between rich and poor is not the absence of problems, it is the size of the person they are in relation to their problems. Imagine you're a level 2 person facing a level 5 problem. That problem will feel huge, overwhelming, impossible. Now imagine that you grow up to be a level 10 person. The same level 5 problem now seems small, manageable, barely an inconvenience. The problem didn't change, you changed. This is why the wealthy seem so calm in the face of problems that would paralyze an average person. It's not that they don't feel stress, it's that they've become bigger than stress. They have expanded their ability to handle difficulties. During one of my seminars, a woman came up to me crying. Her business was failing, her marriage in trouble, her health deteriorating. "Harv, is soy, my problems are enormous." I stopped her immediately. I didn't tell him, "Your problems are normal size. You're small." He was initially offended, but then he understood. Her problems were not unique or especially difficult. Millions of people face similar challenges. The difference is that some have grown large enough to handle them, and others have not. Here's the gift hidden in trouble. They're your personal growth gem. Every problem is an invitation to become bigger. Every challenge is an opportunity to expand your capacity. Muscles only grow under resistance. Your character only grows stronger under pressure. The poor see problems as punishment. The rich see them as a resume. Every problem you solve qualifies you for bigger, more lucrative problems. Do you know why CEOs make millions? Because they can solve million-dollar problems. Do you know why the average employee earns little? Because it can only solve small problems. If you want to earn more, don't look for easier work, look for bigger problems to solve. The market pays in proportion to the size of problems you can handle. Solve $10 problems, earn $10. Solve $10 million problems, earn millions. When you feel like your problems are huge, there's a technique I teach that will instantly transform your perspective. Point to yourself and say out loud, "Little me, little me, little me." It sounds ridiculous, but it works. It instantly pulls you out of the victim mentality and reminds you that the problem is not the problem. Your size is the problem. Then, from your higher self, not from your frightened ego, take a deep breath and declare, "I am bigger than any problem. I can handle anything life throws at me." This simple statement reprograms your nervous system from flight to strength. Chapter 10. To receive, the lost art of wealth. If I had to identify the #1 reason why people don't achieve wealth, it would be this: they are lousy receivers. They can be good at giving, working, striving, But when the time comes to receive, they close like an oyster. This inability to receive is an epidemic, especially among good, spiritual, conscious people. They've been programmed with, "It is better to give than to receive. Don't be selfish. Don't be greedy. Don't take more than you need." All of this programming creates a massive energetic blockage to abundance. Let me destroy the most toxic myth of all. It is better to give than to receive. This phrase is mathematically impossible. For every giver, there must be a receiver. They are two sides of the same coin. To say that one is better than the other is like saying inhaling is better than exhaling. Try just inhaling and see what happens. When you are unwilling to receive, you not only deprive yourself, you deprive the giver of the joy of giving. Have you ever tried to give someone something that doesn't accept it? How did you feel? Terrible. The energy of giving needs to be received or it stagnates, becomes toxic, becomes resentment. But there's a deeper reason why people can't receive. They don't feel worthy. This is the most destructive mental virus of all. If deep down you don't believe that you deserve wealth, success, love, your subconscious will block any attempt of the universe to give it to you. The feeling of not deserving comes from childhood conditioning. Every no you heard, every punishment you received, every time you were told you weren't good enough was recorded on your system. Now, as an adult, you continue the punishment, you self-sabotage, you reject opportunities, you push away abundance. Here's the truth that will set your life free. Your value is not something you need to earn, prove, or deserve. It's your birthright. You were born valuable. The universe didn't make a mistake with you. There's no value stamping department where some babies receive the value stamp and others do not. You and only you decide your value. It's a decision, not an objective truth. If you decide you're worth millions, you're worth millions. If you decide you're worthless, you're worthless. In both cases, you'll live your decision. During my seminars, I do an anointing ceremony. I say to the audience, by the power vested in me, I anoint you as an extremely valuable person, from this moment and forever. This theatral is exaggerated and works, because what people need is permission to be valuable. And if you need someone else to give it to you, I'll give it to you now. You have permission to be rich, successful, happy, valuable. But receiving is not only about feeling worthy, it's a skill that must be practiced. Most people are so bad at receiving that they even refuse compliments. Someone says, "I like your shirt," and they reply,
"This old thing," or "I bought it on sale." They can't just say thank you and receive the gift of appreciation. Here's an exercise that will transform your ability to receive for the next 30 days. When someone gives you a compliment, just say thank you. Don't return it, don't minimize it, don't divert it. Just thank you. It'll feel uncomfortable at first, but do it anyway. You're retraining your nervous system to receive. Chapter 11. Results versus time. The equation of freedom. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade results for money. This unique difference explains why some work themselves to death while others retire young and rich. It is the difference between economic slavery and financial freedom. When you trade time for money, you're putting a ceiling on your income. You only have 24 hours a day. Even if you work 16 hours a day, there is a mathematical limit to how much you can earn. You're violating the #1 rule of wealth. Never put a limit on your income. The average employee is caught in this trap. They work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, exchanging their most valuable resource, time, for paper. They believe that the security of a fixed salary is worth it. They don't realize that they have sold their freedom for an illusion of security. The wealthy understand that time is the only truly limited resource. You can't make more time, you can't save time, you can't make up for lost time. That is why they refuse to exchange it for money directly. Instead, they create systems, businesses, investments that generate money regardless of their time. When you charge for results, there is no limit. If you can generate $1 million in value, you can charge hundreds of thousands. If you can generate $1 billion in value, you can cash in hundreds of millions. Your compensation becomes proportional to your contribution, not your presence. During one of my seminars, I was approached by a PR consultant. He wanted to charge $4,000 a month for his services.
I asked him what results he guaranteed. He said he would put his time and effort. I said, I'm not interested in your time, I'm interested in results. I will pay you 50% of the value of the media coverage you generate. According to your numbers, you would earn $10,000 a month, more than double. He accepted never. Why? Fear. He didn't trust their ability to generate results. He preferred the security of a fixed payment, even if it was smaller. This is the poor man's mentality. The rich bet on themselves. They are confident in their ability to deliver value. Here's the truth your boss doesn't want you to know. If you're an employee generating value, the company is earning at least 3 times what you're paid. If you earn $50,000, you're generating at least $150,000 in value. The difference is profit for the company. You are subsidizing the wealth of another with your fear of charging for results. The transition from time to results requires courage. It requires self-confidence. It requires being willing to bet on your ability. But the rewards are exponential, not only in money, but in freedom. When you charge for results, you control your time. You can work 2 hours and earn what others earn in a week. I know a consultant who charges $100,000 for a day of work with companies. It seems absurd until you understand that on that day, you can identify opportunities or solve problems that are worth millions to the company. Get paid for results, not for time. The company happily pays because the return is 10 times or 100 times the investment. If you're currently stuck in an hourly or salaried job, here's your escape plan. First, identify the real value you generate. Second, offer your employer compensation based in part on results. Third, start a side business where you can charge for results. Fourth, when that business equals your salary, quit and never trade time for money again. Chapter 13. The Abundance Mentality. Have everything. The poor live in the world of either or. Either you can have money or you can have happiness, or you can be successful or you can have a family. Either you can be rich or you can be spiritual. This scarcity mindset ensures that you'll always be sacrificing something important. The wealthy live in the world of both. They want money and happiness, success and family, wealth and spirituality. They refuse to accept that they have to choose, and because they do not accept the limitation, they find ways to have everything. This difference is not only semantic, it is fundamental. When you think you have to choose, your brain stops looking for solutions that include both options. When you think you can have both, your brain becomes endlessly creative finding ways to achieve it. For years I was told, you can't get rich doing what you love. It was either this or that. Either you do what you love and you're poor, or you do something you hate and you get rich. I completely rejected this premise. I insisted that he could have both, wealth and passion. It took years, multiple failures, dozens of attempts, but finally I succeeded. Now I make millions doing exactly what I love: teaching, transforming lives, helping people reach their potential. If I had accepted either or, I would be in a job I hate or I would be a poor teacher. The either-or mentality comes from fear and scarcity programming. They told you money doesn't grow on trees. You can't have it all. Something has to give. These are lies designed to keep you limited, to make you easier to control, to keep you from demanding too much from life. The universe is infinitely abundant. There are trillions of dollars circulating. Unlimited love is available. There are endless opportunities waiting. Scarcity is an illusion created by minds programmed for limitation. When you say, "I can't afford that," the universe says, "Okay," and it keeps you unable to pay for it. When you say, "How can I afford that?" your brain starts looking for shapes. The question opens up possibilities that the statement closes. I've seen this principle work miraculously thousands of times. People who insisted on having both, a career they loved and big money, and they succeeded. Couples who insisted on romance and financial security and created it. Parents who insisted on time with their children and business success and found a way. The key is to absolutely refuse to accept the limitation. When someone tells you you have to choose, your answer should be, "Who says it? Where is it written? Who made that rule?" You'll usually find that it's just a limiting belief that someone passed on to you and you never questioned. Chapter 14. Net worth, the only measure that matters. Continuation. Save 10% of 300,000. The problem is not the quantity, it is the habit. The poor have the habit of spending everything they earn, no matter how much it is. The rich have the habit of paying themselves first, no matter how little. Investments are where your money starts working for you. Every dollar you invest is an employee working 24/7, generating more dollars. The poor see a dollar as something to spend. The wealthy see a dollar as a seed that can become a money tree. But the fourth pillar, simplification, is the best-kept secret of wealth. It's not about how much you earn, but how much you need to live. If you need $10,000 a month to be happy, you'll need millions to retire. If you can be happy with $3,000 a month, you can retire with hundreds of thousands. I will tell you about Sui, a participant in my seminars. At age 23, she bought a home for $300,000. 7 years later, she sold it for $600,000. Instead of buying a bigger house, she went to live with her sister. She invested the $300,000 profit at 10% interest. By age 30, she was financially free, living off interest without needing to work. Most would have bought a bigger house, a more luxurious car, elevated their lifestyle. Sui understood that freedom is worth more than appearances, simplified her life, reduced her needs, and bought her freedom at the age of 30, while her friends will continue to work until they're 65. Parkinson's law says expenditures expand to consume disposable income. If you earn more, you spend more. It's automatic, unless you're aware and stop it. That's why there are athletes who won millions and now are broke. No one taught them about net worth. Here's an exercise that will transform your financial life. Every 90 days, calculate your exact net worth. Add up everything you own, subtract everything you owe. The resulting number is your true wealth. Make a graph, track progress. What you measure improves, what you don't measure deteriorates. The first time most calculate their net worth is a shock. They discover that despite years of hard work, their net worth is minimal or negative. It's painful, but necessary. You can't improve what you don't face. Chapter 14, Administration, the Millionaire's Habit.
The biggest difference between rich and poor can be summed up in one sentence. The rich manage their money well. The poor manage their money poorly or not at all. Most poor people have an avoidant relationship with money. They don't review their statements, they don't make budgets, they don't know exactly how much they owe or how much they spend. They live in financial denial, hoping that magically everything will get better. But Harv tells me, I don't have enough money to manage. This is the exact mindset that keeps them poor. It's like saying, I'll start exercising when I'm fit. You have everything backwards. When you start managing the money you have, you'll have more money to manage. The universe has a simple rule. Until you prove that you can handle what you have, you won't get any more. It's like the child with ice cream. If he can't handle a 1-ball cone without dropping it, why would you give him one of 3 balls? You only set him up for failure. I'm going to give you the simplest and most effective money management system out there. It's not sexy, it's not complicated, but it works. It has made more people millionaires than any other system I know of. First, open a financial freedom account. 10% of everything you earn goes here. This money is never spent. It is only invested. It's your goose that lays the golden eggs. The eggs, interest, you can eventually spend, but the hen is never touched. Emma, a student of mine, was on the verge of bankruptcy when she learned this system. She had nothing to divide, so she started with a month. Yes, or so. She put 10 cents into her financial freedom account. It seemed ridiculous, but she committed to doubling it every month. Month 1, 10 cents. Month 2, 20 cents. Month 3, 40 cents. Month 12, $2,048.48. 2 years later, she was able to put $10,000 directly into her account. She is now debt-free and on her way to financial freedom, all because she started with a dime and the commitment to manage it well. Second, create an account to play. Another 10% goes here. This money is to spend on whatever you want, to pamper yourself, to feel rich. It should be completely spent each month. Why? Because you need balance. If you just save and never enjoy, you'll eventually rebel and lose it all in a spending explosion. The rest is divided like this: 10% for education,
10% for long-term savings, 10% for donations, and 50% for needs. If you can't live with 50% of your income, your problem is not one of income, it's of expenses. You need to simplify your life. But I can't live with 50%, they tell me. So you have two options: earn more or spend less. The poor always choose to complain that it is not possible. The rich find a way to do what they can. John, another student, hated the idea of managing money. He found it boring, restrictive, but I compared it to his triathlon training. At first, he hated running. Everything hurt, he couldn't breathe, but he knew it was necessary to win. So he did it every day until he started loving it. The same thing happened with managing their money. At first, he hated him. Now he loves it. He looks forward to payday to split his money. His net worth went from $0 to $300,000 in a few years, not by earning more, but by managing better. Chapter 15. Make money work for you. The secret of freedom. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. This difference determines whether you will spend your entire life working or whether you will one day be free. It is the difference between being a slave to money and being its master. Since we were children, we were programmed with work hard for your money. Nobody told us the second part. Then make your money work hard for you. The poor only know the first part, so they work until they die. The rich master both sides, so they can retire young. Your financial goal shouldn't be to make a lot of money. It should be to create enough passive income to pay for your desired lifestyle. When your passive income exceeds your expenses, you are financially free. You no longer need to work. You work by choice, not by necessity. There are two main sources of passive income. First, money working for you through investments. Second, businesses working for you through systems. The poor have none. The rich have both. Every dollar you spend today could be worth $100 in the future if you invested it. That $50 dinner could be worth $5,000 in your retirement. That $30,000 car could be worth $300,000. I'm not saying don't spend. I'm saying be aware of the real cost. The wealthy see every dollar as a soldier in their financial army. Each soldier can capture more soldiers. Interest that capture more soldiers. Compound interest until you have an entire army working for you while you sleep. My parents understood this. Middle-class workers saved up and bought land for $60,000. 10 years later, they sold it for $600,000. They earned more with that investment than my father did in 30 years of work. The investment did in 10 years what work could not do in 30. But here's the problem. Most never start investing because they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect knowledge, the perfect amount. There is no such thing as perfection in investments. Start where you are, with what you have, and learn along the way. The second source, business working for you, is even more powerful. You don't need to be the next Steve Jobs. You can start with multi-level marketing, franchises, simple online businesses. The important thing is to create systems that generate money without your constant presence. I know people making $500,000 a month with multi-level marketing. Yes, per month. They work hard at first building their network, then the network works for them. I know others with vending machines, car washes, rental properties, money coming in while they sleep. The key is to shift your focus from active income to passive income. Every financial decision must be evaluated. Does this bring me closer to passive income or keeps me stuck in active income? That high-paying job but no passive income potential is a trap. That business that requires your constant presence is a trap. That investment in education that does not generate passive income is questionable. Chapter 16. Action. Despite the fear, the courage of the rich. The most visible difference between rich and poor is not the money in their accounts, it's their relationship with fear. The rich act in spite of fear. The poor let fear paralyze them. This single difference determines completely different destinies. Everyone is afraid. The rich are afraid. Millionaires are afraid. Billionaires are afraid. The difference is they don't let fear make the decisions. They feel the fear and act anyway. There's a brilliant book by Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. The title says it all. It's not about eliminating fear, that's impossible. It's about acting with fear present, of making fear your co-pilot, not your pilot. In my seminars, we teach how to tame the cobra of fear, not to kill the cobra, not to run away from it, to tame it. Fear is energy, and energy can be destructive or constructive depending on how you direct it. During my seminars, I do a dramatic exercise. Participants must break an arrow with their throat. Yes, a real metal-tipped arrow pressing against the soft part of the throat. They must walk forward until the arrow breaks before it pierces their neck. Is it scary? Absolutely. Is it dangerous? If you hesitate or go slowly, yes, everyone can do it. Everyone who commits 100% succeeds. Those who doubt fail. This exercise teaches life's most important lesson. Your mind creates dangers that don't exist. Fear is a masterful storyteller, creating tragedies that will never happen. Mark Twain said it perfectly. I've had thousands of problems in my life, most of which never happened. After the exercise, I asked, was it physically easier than your mind imagined? Everyone says yes. The mind had created a horror movie. The reality was a moment of pressure and then victory. That's how it is with everything in life. The fear of starting a business is worse than starting one. The fear of rejection is worse than the actual rejection. The fear of poverty keeps more people poor than poverty itself. Your comfort zone is your prison. Everything you want is outside of it. To get what you've never had, you must do what you've never done. And that is always, always, always scary. The equation is simple. CZ equals WZ. Your comfort zone equals your wealth zone. If you need to be comfortable, you'll remain poor. If you can be uncomfortable, you can be rich. Comfort is the most effective dream killer there is. No one dies of discomfort, but millions die with unfulfilled dreams for choosing comfort over growth. Chapter 17. Constant learning, the obsession of the rich. The three most dangerous words in the Spanish language are ya lo sé.
These words have kept more people in poverty than any economic downturn. They are the epitaph on the tomb of dead dreams. How do you know if you really know something? Simple. If you live it, you know it. If you're not rich and happy, there are things about money and life that you don't know, no matter how many books you've read or seminars you've taken. The rich are perpetual students. The poor think they already know everything they need to know. The rich are constantly investing in their education. The poor say they can't afford education, guaranteeing that they will stay exactly where they are. Benjamin Franklin said it perfectly. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Ignorance about money costs millions. Ignorance about investments costs your retirement. Ignorance about business costs your freedom. Every master was once an apprentice. This is one of my favorite quotes because it destroys the excuse that I wasn't born for this. No one is born knowing about money. Warren Buffett learned. Bill Gates learned. Everyone learned. During one of my seminars, an Olympic skier shared his story. As a child, he was the worst skier in his group, so bad that they didn't invite him to ski. But he took lessons every weekend, practiced obsessively, learned from the best. Now he is an Olympian. Success is a skill that is learned. You can learn to be rich just as you can learn to play the piano, speak another language, or any other skill. It's not talent, it's training. It's not luck, it's learning. But here's the catch. The poor learn from other poor people. They ask their broken friends for financial advice. It's like asking someone who is overweight for diet advice. The rich learn from others richer than themselves. Once, an investment banker wanted to manage my money. I asked him for his personal financial statements. He was surprised. No one had asked him to do that before. I said, if you're not richer than me, why would I let you handle my money? It is common sense that no one applies. The most important training is not in your profession, it is in yourself. Personal development is the investment with the highest return. Every book you read, every seminar you take, every mentor you hire multiplies your value in the marketplace. I suggest that you dedicate 10% of your income to education. Yes, 10%.
books, courses, coaching, seminars, everything that makes you grow. The poor see this as an expense. The rich see it as the most important investment. But I don't have time, say the poor. Translation is not a priority. You have time for television, social networks, complaining, but not to learn. That choice determines your financial future. But I don't have money for education, they say. This is the most toxic excuse. If you don't have money to learn how to make money, when will you? It is a vicious circle that can only be broken with courageous action. You've reached the end of this audiobook, but this isn't an ending, it's a beginning. All you've heard so far is information. Information without action is just entertainment, and you didn't invest your time here to entertain yourself. You came to transform your life. Right now, you're at a crossroads. A path leads back to your previous life, to your previous patterns, to your previous results. It's familiar, it's comfortable, it's safe, and it's exactly the path that got you to where you are now. The other path is unknown, uncomfortable, terrifying. It requires you to question everything you believed about money, to face your deepest fears, to change who you are on a fundamental level. It is the way of the rich. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it will be easy. Changing your decades-old mental programming isn't easy. Facing your financial demons isn't easy. Breaking away from your mental family isn't easy. But here's the truth. Living in scarcity is not easy either. Worrying about money isn't easy. Working until you die isn't easy. You're going to struggle either way. The question is, do you prefer the difficulties of growth or the difficulties of stagnation? Do you prefer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Your current money pattern was installed for you without your permission when you were a child. You didn't choose the limiting beliefs, the fears, the destructive habits. But now you're an adult. Now you can choose. Now you can reprogram yourself. Every statement you learned, every wealth file you discovered, every principle you absorbed is a reprogramming tool. But tools don't work alone. They need a committed operator. The universe is waiting for your decision, not your desire, not your hope, your decision. The moment you truly decide with every cell of your body that you will be rich, the universe will conspire to help you. But it has to be real, it has to be total, it has to be irreversible. The 17 richness files you learned aren't just concepts, they're your new operating system, but you need to install them. That means making the statements daily. It means taking the suggested actions. It means living these principles, not just knowing them. Your mind will protest, your comfort zone will scream, your family might object, your friends might scoff. And when that happens, remember, they're speaking from their programming, not from the truth. They're projecting their fears, not protecting you. I've seen thousands of transformations, people who were bankrupt and now are millionaires, people who hated money and now dominate it, people who were trapped and now are free. The only difference between them and those who remain the same is that they acted. You don't need to make it perfect, you don't need to understand everything, you don't need to feel ready. All you need is to start, one step, one action, one statement at a time. Your new life begins with your next decision. Will you close this audiobook and get back to your routine, or will you take an action, however small, toward your financial freedom? Will you make that first statement? Will you open that financial freedom account, even if it's with $1? Will you write your commitment to wealth? Money isn't really about money. It's about freedom. It's about choices. It's about being able to help others. It's about surviving your life on your terms. It's about becoming the person you were born to be. You have a unique gift. You have a value that the world needs. When you get rich, you don't just benefit yourself. You benefit everyone your wealth can touch. Your family, your community, the causes you care about, future generations. Playing small doesn't serve the world. Staying poor doesn't help anyone. The world needs your greatness, your contribution, your example of what is possible. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not next year, not when the conditions are perfect. Now, in this instant, with what you have from where you are. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Change the interior, and the exterior has no choice but to change. It's universal law. It's inevitable. It's your birthright. My mission is to help you live with courage, purpose, and joy instead of fear, need, and obligation. This audiobook is my contribution to that mission, but it only works if you do your part. You're not alone in this journey. Thousands are taking this path with you right now. They're making the same statements, taking the same actions, facing the same fears, and they're winning. I want to leave you with one last truth. You already have everything you need to be rich. You don't need more information, more time, more money to get started. All you need is the decision to use what you already have. Your millionaire mind already exists inside you. It has only been asleep, waiting to be activated. This audiobook was your wake-up call. Now it's your turn to get up. The universe rewards action, not intention. It rewards courage, not comfort. It rewards commitment, not desire. This is your time to choose. Will you be a victim or a creator? Will you think small or big? Will you see obstacles and opportunities? Will you resent the rich or learn from them? Will you fear failure or will you act in spite of fear? Your financial future is not written. It is not determined by your past, your education, your family, your current situation. It's determined by your decisions going forward. If they can do it, you can do it. If a poor child can become a millionaire, you can. If someone without education can succeed, you can. If someone with all the disadvantages can succeed, you can. The only question that remains is, will you do it? The time for excuses is over. The time for blaming is over. The time for waiting is over. The time for action has arrived. Your millionaire mind is waiting. Your financial freedom is waiting. Your best life is waiting. It all starts with your next decision. Choose wisely, choose bravely, choose now. Your time is this. Your time is now. Your millionaire mind has awakened.
Take a deep breath, feel the power of this moment, and with all the conviction of your being, tell me one last time, I have a millionaire mind. Welcome to your new life. Thank you so much, friend, for listening. Leave your ideas in the comments section so our community can grow by learning together. That's all for now. Until the next audiobook,